Come see us on tour in Dallas, Austin, Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, New York, Atlantic City, Levittown, Cohoes, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for the link for the cheapest tickets. Holy S, the FBI just revealed that 5,000 out of their 13,000 agents were focused on January 6th protesters. That's 39% of the entire bureau.
Oh my God!
Were focused on hunting down and building cases against the January 6th protesters. That's not counting the amount of FBI people who were in the crowd that day. That's just, so remember when, so this is congressman and former law enforcement. This is how many, he says, conservatively, FBI and FBI assets were in the crowd creating that riot you saw. 99% of the people at January 6th were nonviolent. And that's why they showed this picture of the people inside the Capitol were still walking respectfully in between the ropes.
Do you think some of the agents are disguised as statues in there?
Right.
Spray paint them like this.
So listen to what he says. How many? So 5,000. So almost 4 out of 10 FBI people were working on trying to get January 6 protesters. Almost half the agency was dedicated to that. A handful of people. And so watch what Clay Higgins says. How many were actually in the January 6th?
We're gradually, professionally rolling that evidence out.
You sort of answered the question right there in larger terms. You just said that elements within the federal government, I assume law enforcement, intel, and military, and I'm using your words, lured Americans to Washington into what you called a trap.
Yes, sir.
That guy said 200, at least, because conservative number, 200 FBI and FBI assets were in the crowd inciting people to do stuff, and they were inside the Capitol before the riot started, dressed as MAGA supporters. There were police, took off their uniforms, put on MAGA stuff inside the Capitol. So, now my big question is, here's my big question to you, Kurt.
Yeah.
So if the FBI is going to go through all this trouble, because all this is to try to discredit Trump's political movement. So they wanted to get Trump committing a crime of insurrection, which they couldn't. He was never charged with that because he didn't do that. But they tried, and that's why they did those other 4 cases that are completely bogus, made up, and in fact, Andrew Cuomo said it was garbage, the charges they brought against him in New York.
Of course, dude, Jimmy, not just that. You got all these people. These are the people that were willing to show up to protest. So now you got them all in one place and know where they are. You can put charges on them. They can never own guns again. It's like you're eliminating an entire chunk of movement. You know what I mean? In the plan,
that's right.
We're going to eliminate the whole movement in one swoop.
And so they tried to get rid of Trump, didn't work. But then they put almost half the FBI on trying to dismantle his political organ or a movement. So my question is, why would they go through that much trouble to dismantle his political movement only to allow him to get power again? Why would they do that? Now, some people say, "Oh, it's just the Yankees versus the Cowboys, two sides of the deep state, or the Rockefellers versus the tech bros." That's what some people say. I think that's a little too simplistic of an explanation. So which ones were running the FBI? And why would, and because obviously the ones who were against Trump, let's say Trump is a cowboy, so obviously the Yankees were running the FBI.
That's an old designation. I don't think Yankee and Cowboy is still how it is. Those lines have shifted quite a bit because a lot of Yankees and Cowboys are together. That's the whole New World Order.
That's
section.
right. That's exactly right.
So, but if you follow CIA or FBI or people that talk about being in it, they've been weeding, just like in Hollywood, just like your friends don't talk to you. Anybody that ain't going along with the thing got weeded out. They're not getting promoted. They're going to get driven out. Every industry anyone who was qualified. There's no good people in the FBI. I don't believe that. But if you were someone that believed in the thing, you got weeded out enough so that we could do what we want for a long time. And that's why they don't want the books opening.
And we even reported on the questionnaire that they gave to FBI employees, asking them, do you know anybody here who's sympathetic to MAGA? Do you know anybody here who's sympathetic to January 6th? And then they would they'd weed those people out.
And you're already trained to trust the system because you're trying to be in the FBI.
That's
you
right.
Never did drugs. That's like told us in school. Don't ever do any drugs because you can't work at the FBI or Secret Service. And so you're already a person that follows orders by nature, and you believe in it, though. You're not bad. And then you got to confront that. And like now you're not going to get an A or your career, or you got to turn away.
So the people who were against Trump in the deep state were running the FBI, obviously, because they assigned half the FBI to go after him in his movement.
Let's say about 40% of them work for the deep state.
But the people who were running the FBI, so definitely all the people in charge. So then why would they then allow Trump to become president? Why wouldn't they, if they're willing to do that, if they're willing to lie, if they're willing to lie to the FISA court 17 times so they could get, if they're willing to do the dossier, which was, they knew was a lie. They lied about Papadopoulos. They lied about the FBI constantly. Russiagate was one big conspiracy theory invented by the FBI in the Clinton campaign. If they're willing to do all that, why would the FBI then all of a sudden go, oh, well, I guess he won the election? Why would they do that?
He's driving them out.
What? But why would they allow that to happen? Is my question, Kurt. The guy missed.
The guy that shot missed. The other guy missed.
So that's what a lot of people said. They said, well, they tried to get him. They gave him a clear. They got this patsy. Boy, was that guy ever a patsy. They got this guy who has no social media presence, all scrubbed. Nobody knows anything about him. They let him get on the 3 different Secret Service people saw the guy. They let him climb on top of the roof of the building that the Secret Service was in. They let him get on top. They let him get a clear shot. He got at least three shots off. And so you're saying So a lot of people are saying
COG is the one. The COG is the thing behind the whole thing. Continuity of government. That's the one.
The continuity of government.
And that's where, like, for example, they did the Ollie North stuff with the Iran-Contra smuggling. It's called the Doomsday Wire. It's like how you communicate if there's a nuclear war. And so I keep thinking about that thing because Scott Ritter said, because I asked him about it, he goes, yeah, they think there's some kind of bunker that they're going to go to, but it's not there anymore. Those haven't been paid for in years. But I think something happened behind the scenes because just like that DNC thing where I'm like, they all look like robots not getting instructions anymore. So I don't know what is different that I above my pay grade to know. But
so that's
such a
So I mean,
such a power structure where you like Kamala can't have a conversation for 3 hours. She can't. They have to curate it. So she won't say anything that she actually thinks ever. And to get promoted in that system for how long now, you had to be like that. So now whoever's given the orders to the people to do that, the orders aren't coming. I don't know why. And I don't know. It is 2 factions of deep state. Don't ever think it's not.
And this should outrage you as an American citizen to find this out. If you're not outraged that the FBI is not there to uphold democracy or law and order, they're there to actually go against the democracy. The people elected Donald Trump the first time, they tried to undercut him at every turn, lied to the FISA court, tapped his phone, did Russiagate. The generals in Syria lied to him about troop numbers. He was being lied to constantly, and he was being effed with by the FBI, and Chuck Schumer admitted that the CIA and the FBI doesn't work for the president.
That's right.
And so now we don't know who they work for. So this should outrage you. This should outrage you because if they can do this, because like I tried to explain to Cornel West, if they can do this to Donald Trump, someone who's super popular as a populist leader, they could do it to anybody. And they will do it to anybody.
They did it to Cornell.
And they did. I'm sure they did.
He didn't want to be president.
They'll do it to Bernie Sanders. They'll do it to Jill Stein. They'll do it to Cornel West. They'll do it to anybody who the establishment doesn't like. That's why this matters. That's why that's why Russiagate always mattered. That's why it always mattered. Because that's what they'll do. So these are the real criminals. That's who the FBI should have been looking for. Those people. So here's the article. FBI provides the Trump Justice Department. And so this would not have come out if Donald Trump didn't become president. You wouldn't know how corrupt your FBI is. You would not know. If Kamala Harris won the presidency, this would never have come out. And by the way, of course it's not going to be reported the way it should be, that, hey, your intelligence agencies are actually the criminals. They're actually the rogues. They're actually the people undermining democracy, not Donald Trump. They're not going to report it that way.
That they made COVID with your money?
That they made COVID with your money.
Yeah.
FBI provides the Trump Justice Department with details about 5,000 employees who worked January 6 cases. The FBI complied with the order from the President Trump's Justice Department. So who had that on your bingo card? The Justice Department and the FBI would be adversaries and fighting against each other. Isn't that nice?
They used to be.
And they provided Department of Justice officials with the information about more than 5,000 employees who worked on investigations related to the January 6, 2021 riot. So they're calling it the riot, not the insurrection, at the U.S. Capitol, according to the multiple reports. The demand made by acting Deputy Attorney General Emily Bove last week, Emil Slamazel, Hots and Peppers Incorporated. Emil Bove last week sparked concern and triggered lawsuits, arguing that because they want to cover up their corruption. It sparked lawsuits arguing that the list could put the safety of FBI agents and their families at risk. However, the information furnished by the Bureau does not include employee names. And that's according to CNN. On Tuesday...
Oh, wow. You can say the Doge nerds that work on Doge, but we're not going to find out who's behind this,
That's right. We're not allowed to find out the corrupt FBI people who are undermining democracy. Well, we can find out a couple of tech nerds who are trying to do an audit of the Treasury Department, ordered by the President of the United States, who just got elected. On Tuesday, 9 FBI agents filed a class action lawsuit against the Justice Department in response to the request, alleging that acting Attorney General James McHenry and other Department of Justice officials were retaliating against them by distributing surveys asking about their involvement in cases against Trump and his supporters in order to be terminated or to suffer the adverse employment action. The agents asserted that, quote, even if they are not targeted for termination, they may face other retaliatory acts such as demotion, denial of job opportunities, or denial of promotions in the future. And, yeah, if you're doing nefarious crap and now the current Department of Justice doesn't want you to do it, doesn't want to reward that behavior, I don't see how that's illegal or worthy of a lawsuit.
Hey, you can watch me take a shit every day. Why can't I watch you?
That's right. In a separate Tuesday filing in D.C. federal court, the FBI's union, they have a union, and other anonymous bureau employees asked for a temporary restraining order. They don't want the Department of Justice to know which FBI people of the 5,000 were working on the January 6th protesters to dismantle the MAGA movement. They don't want anybody to know that. I wonder why they don't want people to know that.
Oh, because you could probably pick them out in the video once you have certain information.
Publication of the details of any of the agents' involvement in the probes would violate their First Amendment rights and the Privacy Act of 1974, as well as due process. That's what the lawsuits allege. Really?
Did Rolling Stone pick this up like they did the Doge story?
Really? That seems kind of crazy. If that's true, if those lawsuits are what they're alleging, if that's true, That seems crazy.
See, this is why I think they're going to dump real information about JFK, because it's to Trump's advantage to put that out and make people distrust them even more, because they're going to try to wiggle out of getting audited. But think of the anger when Epstein stuff comes out. I'm with you about, like, what do you mean it's close? Just dump it on him. But I'll bet it's strategically being dumped for this.
So here is the guy who's the head of the House committee who's supposed to take care of this. Listen to this.
To the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau within the federal government.
Well, you know, I'm chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee in Judiciary, and we're going to dig into this stuff. The FBI, the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, DEA, most of the folks working in these agencies are good people that are working on the street. But the people at the top, what they did, wanting to implant people in traditional Roman Catholic churches. This is what the FBI did. Creating and working to create the Steele dossier, which was a complete lie, working with a guy by the name of Igor Danchenko, giving him hundreds of thousands of dollars, using his lies to go after President Trump. Again, a horrible thing. Going after parents and school boards, terrible. Misusing FISA. They misused FISA going after people they didn't agree with. They misused FISA going after boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, and wives millions of times.
So that's Jeff Van Drew. He's the chairman of the House Judiciary Subcommittee.
I suspect it's not Cowboys and Yankees anymore. It's the battle of fascist versus pervert. And there's a lot of overlap between the two. There's a real revolving door between the fascist and pervert factions.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, why the FBI would put so much energy into dismantling MAGA and then just go ahead and let it happen. Because it's the same people who were trying to dismantle MAGA were the same people who let Trump become president. So they didn't switch from dismantling MAGA's movement and Trump's election. Those are the same people in charge, the same people running things, the same people putting five. So that didn't switch. So that doesn't make sense.
Well, that shows you the extent of their power. Look, a pyramid structure is everybody has a certain level of power. So there's a lot of lawfare crap. Do you understand?
Yeah.
There's no they couldn't find real crimes. So they literally couldn't find him. They didn't make him up. So it's a very complicated operation, and they have to maintain a semblance of this is legal what we're doing. So people tried to kill him, so that's the extra legal means. The FBI is not the top of the heap with that. COG, what can COG get away with? And then they all probably answer to something worse at the top, is my guess.
And COG stands for continuance of government, which you're not allowed to talk about even in congressional hearings.
Nancy Pelosi brought it up herself when Trump was sick with COVID. She goes, don't worry, we got COG. It's the only time I've ever seen them voluntarily bring it up was Nancy Pelosi doing it when Trump got COVID.
So there you go. Either way, I don't know if we'll ever know the answer as to why the FBI allowed Trump to become president when they were so committed to dismantling his movement and stopping him.
Because they're not in charge.
No,
that's why.
Kurt, how many times I got to explain this? The same people who did Russiagate, the same people who put 5,000 people on the January 6th to dismantle MAGA were still running the FBI when Trump got elected.
Right.
So now they're not in charge. Now. But they were in charge when he got elected. So that's the question. The question is, if they would put so much energy into dismantling MAGA, why would they then just let him become president? Because it's the same people. So now they're being dismantled, right. The FBI. Now that Trump is in control.
Okay, I'm saying a different thing. I'm saying the people above them giving it like 5,000 people on it, that's orders from above.
You don't think that comes from the top of the FBI?
I think they're taking orders from somebody above them, such as COG. The Secret Service, why they security strip him? Why is that lady from COG, the one that brought Cheney the bunker, Kimberly Cheadle? COG. So I don't know what fell apart with COG, but I bet you that's what the dismantling is, because the FBI's muscle. They're not the brains of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like USAID, I had no idea was bigger than all of them.
USAID
got more money.
More money than the CIA and the FBI combined.
Yeah, like that really genuinely surprised me. So I don't know, like the people in charge, I think it has to do with NGOs and all that kind of WEF stuff. They're working for the New World Order. So whoever's the top of that, it's probably people you never heard of. You didn't elect them. That's for goddamn sure.
I want to share a little secret Steph and I have been loving lately. Electric bikes. If you're looking for a fantastic ride, their Black Friday sale still going strong. Let me tell you, the variety of models they offer is incredible, whether it's the XP 3.0, X-Press, or the XP Trike. There's something for every rider out there. Steph and I, we have the XP 3.0. The best part, they come nearly assembled right out of the box. Seriously, minimal effort to get started, and you'll be riding in no time. We've had such an amazing experience with electric bikes. I'm confident you will too. So head over to electricbikes.com and check out their deals. Don't miss out on this opportunity to elevate your riding experience. And here is some video of me riding my...
Look at you go, Jimmy. Wow. Looks so easy. Too easy.
Too easy. Too easy. I was doing mostly with the electric thing. Wasn't even pedaling. Go to electricbikes.com to get yours. Come see us on tour in Dallas, Austin, Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, New York, Atlantic City, Levittown, Cohoes, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for the link for the cheapest tickets.